But I do want to take a moment to reflect on this past year from my vantage point as the chair of the Senate. I was honored to accept this position knowing that it was an opportunity to serve the Vanderbilt community, to learn and be challenged, to advocate, to compromise, to listen, to agree and debate. I have met faculty, students, staff, and administration across all of our schools and colleges who have been willing to answer questions, offer opinions, and educate. So for that, thank you. I have a lot of thank yous. I'd like to thank Vice Chair Elizabeth Catania, the prior Chair and Vice Chair Mark Magnuson and Ryan Madaw, and the incoming Chair and Vice Chair Andrea Capizzi and Tamara Hoyt. We spend a lot of time together. The 6 of us meet 1 or 2 hours each week, and the diversity of our experiences, our thoughts, and our opinions enable us to serve as a voice for all Vanderbilt and faculty members. Thank you as well for Stacy McCarty, the Administrative Coordinator for the Faculty Senate Office, who manages the significant task of supporting our work as a Senate. I'd also like to thank Chancellor Diermeier and Provost Raver for their commitment to an open dialogue with the Senate Executive Committee. I have valued our monthly meetings, their perspective, their willingness to hear feedback and provide the same, and their partnership on challenges and opportunities. The Chancellor and Provost have both demonstrated their eagerness and willingness to meet with faculty in many different arenas, from regularly attending these Faculty Senate meetings, to their presence across campus at department and school events, to one-on-one meetings with faculty throughout the year, to opportunities such as the recent webinar in conversation with the Chancellor. Your dedication to dialogue with faculty has been noticed and appreciated. Next, I would like to thank our elected and appointed senators. Currently, we have 66 elected senators from our 10 different schools and colleges. Their willingness to serve in the Senate, on committees, and reporting back to their respective college or schools is a critical piece of our shared governance model. Thanks as well to the 13 people who include non-senators who have served as committee chairs and co-chairs over the past year. Their commitment and leadership have allowed the work of the Senate to continue and excel. John McClain has served as our parliamentarian this past year. I've appreciated his sage advice, his knowledge of Robert Rules of Order, and a sense of humor. All 3 have been very invaluable. Liz and I focused on finding common grounds, connection, clarity, and communication this year. To build connection and encourage communication, the Executive Committee met individually with either the Faculty Council leadership or the Dean if there was not a Faculty Council structure of each college and school. This allowed an additional touch point with faculty to discuss their perspective on faculty issues and understand how the Senate can partner with them on shared issues. We've been able to elevate many of these issues to either administration or to incorporate those ideas for future Executive Committee or Senate work. We've appreciated the communications team for adding Senate updates to my VU starting this past fall, which added to our focus on enhanced communication. The EC has met weekly and the Senate has met monthly in the Faculty Commons space, which was renovated for faculty use. Additionally, the Faculty Life Committee hosted 2 workshops for the faculty in the space this spring. Being in person has certainly helped build connection and allows for more open, honest dialogue on tough issues. Our Senate meetings have been active, a combination of both informational and productive. Highlights have been reports from the follow-on committee on the Task Force on Ministerial Effectiveness, as well as an update from the VU-VUMC Ad Hoc Committee, and the final report from our Ad Hoc Committee on Divestment. The commitment of the Chancellor and Provost to attend each meeting, support the agenda, and address questions speaks to the shared governance model. I've appreciated the many administration leaders and faculty who've been invited guests to both our EC meetings as well as committee meetings, as well as the full Senate meetings, to provide updates, answer questions, and educate us on critical issues. It's important that we remain aware of the challenges and opportunities both in 2023 and beyond, whether it's around sustainability and related issues, following up on resolutions and recommendations, understanding of issues such as the impact of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, or working to broaden our global presence. The Faculty Senate must be at the table for these conversations, as the faculty are integral to the framework of Vanderbilt, and like all framework, require support to be sustained. Last month began the celebration of Vanderbilt's Sesquicentennial. It's a time for celebration of our past, the people, places, and accomplishments that make up our history, but also to look forward as we all continue to accomplish and achieve, educate, and learn and discover. I encourage faculty to participate in the Sesquicentennial activities throughout this coming year. Like me, you may actually end up learning something new about Vanderbilt. And finally, I'm looking forward to passing the gavel next month to Andrea Capizzi, who will serve as the next chair of the Senate. So for that and for all of those things, thank you. I'm now pleased to turn over the podium to our Chancellor, Daniel Diermeier.
Well, thank you, Dr. Swan and Provost Raver, esteemed faculty, honored guests. Thank you for making the time to be here during this busy final sprint to the end of the semester. I want to particularly thank Rebecca Swan, Sesquicentennial, and the Faculty Senate for organizing today's assembly and for your continued collaboration in guiding on our university as we enter our Sesquicentennial year. Shared governance is one of our most cherished values, and I'm grateful for the partnership across our campus that made it possible. Last month, as many of you know, we officially launched the year-long celebration of Vanderbilt's Sesquicentennial, the 150th anniversary of our founding. Reflecting on Cornelius Vanderbilt's founding gift offers us a rare opportunity to pause and consider where we have been and how a university has evolved in a century and a half. And it gives us an excellent opportunity to look forward, to consider what is and what can be. After 150 years, Vanderbilt is stronger than it has ever been. We're a leading destination for faculty and students alike and can count ourselves among the country's leading research universities. Demand for attending Vanderbilt is at record levels, and combined annual research funding for the university and the medical center has topped $1 billion. And in addition to our formal metrics, we hear again and again in our interactions with students and parents how delighted they are with the student experience, and that Vanderbilt provides an education for a student that is distinct and second to none. Success at this level doesn't just happen by chance. It is the result of a clarity of purpose and strategic direction, nurtured and refined over years. But most importantly, it is the consequence of the dedicated daily work of you, our faculty, in classrooms and in labs, in research seminars, in faculty offices, where the careful, diligent, and thoughtful research and teaching you do every day lead to the transformative education and path-breaking research, innovation, and artistic creation that we celebrate on days like today. So on this milestone anniversary, we can all take great pride in the exceptional university that Vanderbilt has become. But sometimes it's the smaller, more intimate experiences that bring it all home. So I regularly have dinner with first-year students at Dean Grissalfi's home at the Ingram Commons. Last week, at one of these dinners, Dean Grissalfi opened the conversation by asking the students, well, first of all, to state their names, and then what surprised them about Vanderbilt. The first student said she was surprised by the level of academic challenge. High school had been easy, and she had expected the same thing at Vanderbilt. She was surprised that classes were demanding, but in a good way. The second commented on how friendly people were and that this sense of community permeated life at Vanderbilt. She had experienced it right away when visiting, but was delighted that it was real. The third student pointed to the wealth of opportunities inside of the classroom, and the fourth student from Delhi was surprised by our cold winters. So it's a good thing he didn't enroll at the University of Chicago. But together, they were a hugely impressive group of young people, curious, committed, and conscientious, with terrific questions and insights. These are enormously gratifying moments, small moments, but they remind us sometimes, after a day of challenges, why we do what we do and the impact we have on lives all around us. They remind us that, despite the often strident criticism of higher education, and some of that is valid, we should never forget that our mission is a noble one. It has a generational impact on young lives, an unparalleled social impact. But what was particularly gratifying about this conversation is that this conversation could only have taken place at Vanderbilt. The students, in their lived experiences, reflected on who we are as a university in such a complete and comprehensive fashion that I was asking myself, in jest of course, and I asked the dean, whether Dean Grisalfi had practiced with them to make sure they all had these answers ready. She assured me with a straight face, absolutely not. And this is not only the newest members of our community that express these sentiments. A few weeks ago, I had dinner with a small group of emeriti faculty to hear their reflections on Vanderbilt. And one theme that came up again and again is the one particular dimension in which they felt Vanderbilt differed from many other institutions. Here, quote, "We have a spirit of radical collaboration and a willingness to work together. As one professor emeritus noted, the walls are so incredibly low here." Iconic universities are defined by what they stand for. They not only are known for excellence and research, they have a clear and distinct identity based on closely held, unshakable values. For many years, for many decades indeed, you'd hear Vanderbilt referred to as the Harvard of the South. Beyond our campus, we weren't known for who we were or what we did, but rather for who we were comparing ourselves with. No longer. As we approach our Sesquicentennial, we have outgrown being defined by role models. We're defined by who we are, our purpose, and our values. And it is clear what we stand for at Vanderbilt. First and foremost is our deep belief in realizing our full potential, intellectually and as human beings. The desire to fully realize our potential is why all of us have chosen lives dedicated to scholarship, research, teaching, and the burning interests that won't let us rest. It is why we dedicate ourselves to pursuits that to the outside worlds, on occasion, seem difficult to comprehend. But they steer our passion to work long hours driven by the deep desire to really figure something out. It is why we learn from one another and why we debate one another on the big issues and the finer points. And realizing our human potential is why we seek to guide and nurture our students' development at every level, emotionally and physical, in addition to intellectual. Witness our residential colleges, witness our student life programs, witness the care and attention that you put day to day into mentoring your students. And witness the way our students put thought into action. Our second value is based on the belief that people grow best as members of a community that supports and challenges them. It is a firm and distinct point of view on development and growth, and it manifests itself in a commitment to one Vanderbilt and a culture of radical collaboration. Many of you, like me, have been around higher education long enough to know that this value in particular and the way we live it every day at Vanderbilt make our university one of a kind. It is essential to our work every day, from the mutual respect that permeates our campus to a culture of civil discourse that never forgets that even if we disagree on issues, we are all members of one community, guided by the same purpose and grounded in the same values. And I'm convinced that it is this culture that made it possible for us to thrive despite 3 years full of challenges and difficulties. We have endured tornadoes and other devastating weather events, the COVID-19 pandemic, a painful national reckoning with racial justice, a Christmas Day bombing, and political polarization that has threatened the very foundations of our government, all while straining our personal relationships and our ability to do our work. And of course, as we all know, just 2 weeks ago, our community suffered a horrific act of violence that has shaken many of us to the core. Yet, in the face of each challenge, our university came together to first care for those immediately affected, then to stand by and support one another, and then to ask, what can we do? How can we have an impact? How can we make things better? This culture is infectious. I see the responses every time I talk to visiting students and their parents. I'm reminded of every year when we welcome new generations of students to our campus during Welcome Week and Founders Walk. And I recently experienced it in a particularly powerful fashion from the responses of hundreds of students who came from across the world for a weekend on our campus during the Clinton Global Initiative University. As one student who visited said, and I quote, "Vanderbilt is a home away from home after one day on campus." And hospitality realized at its peak. Their commitment to excellence and service to the world is really splendid, end quote. And it leads to real results. As a particularly impressive example, consider the work of our task force on ministerial effectiveness. This is an outstanding example of administration and faculty coming together to identify barriers to research and education, have candid and not always easy conversations, and identify real solutions. Our values are not a slogan, and they're not just in fancy brochures. We live them every day, and the resulting difference from other universities is something people notice. So, now the question, as always, is, how can we do more? How can we make Vanderbilt even more of a shining example and a place like no other in America's higher education landscape? In the spirit of radical collaboration, we will keep working together to continuously improve. This means doing more to discover, to support discovery, creation, and innovation, to Discovery Vanderbilt and other initiatives led by Provost Raver. And it means collaborating across disciplines to innovate in ways that other universities simply can't. For example, through the Vanderbilt Institute on Surgery and Engineering. It's one example. We bring our schools of medicine and engineering together for the close collaboration necessary for the successful development of new medical devices and other life-changing and life-saving innovations. Or the Engine for Art, Democracy, and Justice, led by Maria Magdalena Campos Pons, which studies the intersection between art and activism in partnership with the First Art Museum, Fisk University, Millions of Conversations, and Vanderbilt, exploring how democracy and art shape one another in a city and region where activism is being borne out in new ways every day. Or Vanderbilt's work in Grundy County, which brought together faculty from political science, chemistry, human and organizational development, earth and environmental sciences, and more to address a cancer outbreak in a Tennessee community and to provide sustaining food tools to fix a serious problem for future generations. We will keep reaching across disciplines. We will keep eliminating bureaucratic roadblocks. We will keep dismantling silos. We will keep discovering, creating, and innovating. We'll keep joining together in spirit and action to fully realize the potential of our One Vanderbilt belief. This university has accomplished a great deal in its first 150 years, in large part because it lived its timeless values. For all of our rich history, however, I hope you agree that there's never been a more interesting, exciting, or promising time to be at Vanderbilt rather than this exceptional moment. And so, I thank you for your tireless work, I thank you for your partnership, and I thank you for embodying all that Vanderbilt stands for. Thank you. And now, in the spirit of celebration, it's time to celebrate this spring's Faculty Awards, honoring faculty members who have made a significant impact through scholarship, research, creative expression, service, teaching, or mentoring. Dr. Swan, as Faculty Senate Chair, will you please join me on stage to help me present these awards? These faculty members represent dedication to a mission that has gone unchanged for the past 150 years, to transform lives through education, and a commitment to working for the betterment of humankind. I want to thank all the members of the Vanderbilt community who took the time to nominate a faculty member for an award. No nominations, no awards. And the Office of Faculty Affairs for managing the nomination and selection process for the 2 faculty teaching awards. You can view a list of the previous recipients of all of today's awards on the Faculty Affairs website, and details about what the recipients receive with the honor of each award. So, some of the physical awards are still being engraved and will be shared with the winners soon after the event, but I can assure you nobody will go home empty-handed today. And for logistics, I invite each one of the individual recipients to come up on stage to receive their award after their name is announced. Then we take a beautiful group photo, we'll smile for the cameras, and then we go on. So that's the plan. We begin with the Alexander Hurt Distinguished Service Professor Award, which recognizes scholarship that contributes to the analysis and solution of significant problems of contemporary society. It's quite a mouthful. This year's recipient is Bradley Mallon, Associate Professor of Biomedical Informatics, Biostatistics, and Computer Science. I'm not even halfway done. And founder of the Health Information Privacy Laboratory. And since I was mentioning nominations before, Bradley was nominated by Peter Emby. Bradley's research looks to maximize the potential of the massive amounts of data we generate by making it available on a broad scale, but to do so without violating the rights of the people to whom the data corresponds. The goal here is to construct technology that enable both privacy and analytics, and wouldn't we all love to see solutions that accomplish that? He works to develop practical solutions to preserving privacy with a particular focus on health information, where of course privacy is particularly important, drawing on methods from computer science, biology, policy analysis, and economics. Remember I was talking about that whole boundaries are low, one Vanderbilt thing? We all planned it beautifully. As Bradley has put it, he's working to bring us better health to data, analytics, and policy. Congratulations, Bradley. All right, so you know how this works now? Okay, very good. Our next award is the Harvey Branscombe Distinguished Professor Award. This award recognizes faculty accomplishments that further the aims of the university through creative research, teaching, and service. This year, the Branscombe Award goes to Randolph Blake, Centennial Professor of Psychology and Professor of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences. He was nominated by Tim McNamara, Randolph studies human visual perception and the cognitive neuroscience of visual awareness. He uses behavioral computational brain imaging techniques to explore areas such as perception ambiguity, perception of biological motion, and the ways that knowledge gained through perception and learning guide mental processes. There's a big one, that affect one's grasp of reality. All right, so fundamental research indeed. Randolph has published nearly 300 peer-reviewed articles, and he's the author of the undergraduate textbook titled, you guessed it, Perception. Now in its 5th edition, this popular textbook helps students appreciate the complexity of perception while giving them a fresh perspective on their own seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and tasting. His accomplishments have been recognized with membership in the National Academy of Sciences, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and his important contributions to teaching and mentoring have been honored with the Jeffrey Nordis Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching and the Award for Excellence in Graduate Mentoring by the College of Arts and Sciences. Congratulations, Randolph. I'm just noticing they're all named after chancellors, these awards. This is like, there's a theme here. Next we present the Joe B. Wyatt Distinguished University Professor Award, which recognizes faculty who develop significant new knowledge from research or demonstrate exemplary innovation in teaching. This year's winner of the Wyatt Award is Evelyn Patterson, Associate Professor of Sociology. She was nominated by Daniel Cornfield, and we had a little chat before the reception already, though this was still a surprise to her. Evelyn's work in sociology, demography, law, and criminal justice investigates social problems and processes. Her current scholarships focuses on a critical examination of race as it relates to maternal mortality, physical and mental health policing, and familial incarceration. Evelyn's multidisciplinary research identifies the real health risks posed by structural inequality and examines the impact on health and psychological well-being of societal burdens faced by marginalized populations, particularly African American families. Her work often reveals blind spots in the ways that social science research captures the experience of these populations, and her findings are relevant to creating effective policy solutions. Congratulations, Evelyn. Next, we present the Joseph A. Johnson, Jr. Distinguished Leadership Professor Award. This award goes to a member of the faculty who has proactively nurtured an academic environment where everyone feels valued and where diversity is celebrated. This year's winner of the Johnson Award is Rolanda Johnson. Professor of Nursing, Associate Dean for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in the School of Nursing, and a sometime visitor at our football games. This was the first time we met. She was nominated by Mavis Shorn. Rolanda's experience in nursing as a clinician, educator, researcher, and administrator inspired her to make a difference in the life of those who experience health disparities and inequities and are often overlooked. Her passion in educating nurses to better meet the healthcare needs of all populations and delivering high-quality, culturally sensitive care to all patients. Among her efforts at the School of Nursing was advocating for holistic admissions, which has contributed to a more diverse enrollment. She's working as Associate Dean to create a path for continued improvement in equity, diversity, and inclusion for years to come. Congratulations, Rolanda. Now for our Teaching and Mentoring Awards, based on nominations from the undergraduate student body. First is the Ellen Gregg Ingalls Award for Excellence in Classroom Teaching. This year, the Ingalls Award goes to Jung-Oh Kim, Senior Lecturer in English. Jung-Oh teaches Anglican, Anglo-American literature for students of diverse nationality and disciplines, and just as important, he creates a supportive community for his students. He has been a resource for students in and outside the classroom, according to his student nominators, providing a sense of confidence and supporting students beyond their time within his course. As the nomination states, he created an environment in which my voice mattered, and I felt like I belonged. Dr. Kim has helped me appreciate the college experience and where I'm going in life. Congratulations, Jung-Oh. Next, the Madison Surratt Prize for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching goes to Andrea Capizzi, Associate Professor of the Practice of Special Education, and very importantly, incoming Faculty Senate Chair. Andrea is driven by the desire to change the lives of children with disabilities through their teachers. She has more than 25 years of experience working with students with challenging behaviors from pre-K to middle school. At Peabody, she shares the knowledge she has gained with students in her teacher preparation and behavioral methods classes. Her nomination highlighted her mastery of the course content and her making sure children are set up for social and emotional success. The student nominator added, "I admire so many of her teaching qualities, and I will absolutely strive to implement them in my future classroom." Can't top that, Andrea. Congratulations. This year's two new awards recognize faculty members' commitment to mentoring undergraduate students. The first is the Excellence in Undergraduate Research Mentoring Award. The opportunity for our undergraduates to participate in research with our world-class faculty is a defining experience here at Vanderbilt. By engaging in the scientific process, becoming better learners, thinking critically, and generating, applying, and disseminating new knowledge, our students are gaining the tools they will need to make a difference in the world. The inaugural Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching Mentoring Award goes to Carl Zellick, Associate Professor of Mechanical Engineering. The Zellick Lab investigates fundamental mechanisms of leg locomotion and how to improve assistive technologies such as prosthetic limbs and exoskeletons. Using state-of-the-art equipment, students in the lab perform research on human locomotion using techniques from engineering, biomechanics, biosignal analysis, and neural control. According to the student nominator, Carl teaches students in the lab and in his classes how to think about complex problems and communicate ideas, as well as providing support and guidance. That was a wonderful quote. He treated every student like they were capable of greatness and helped make sure they achieved their goals. Congratulations, Carl. Finally, we present the Excellence in Immersion Mentoring Award, the second of our new awards recognizing undergraduate mentoring. The goal of the Immersion Vanderbilt degree requirement for undergraduates is to give every student the opportunity to follow or discover a passion and to learn by doing through immersive experiences that are as creative and unique as the students themselves. With this new award, we recognize a faculty member who has been an exceptional immersion mentor, David Hess. James Thornton Fan, Professor of Sustainability Studies and Professor of Sociology. David researches the public understanding of science and technology and the politics of the transition to a more sustainable economy and society. Meanwhile, David has helped students complete 9 immersion experiences and 5 culminating immersion projects. The student nominator participated in research on energy infrastructure and city adaptation in David's lab and said that David was integral in their academic experience. Indeed, after creating a mentor relationship with David, the student became a climate studies ambassador. Quote, I shared my passion for the major and the field with other students and became a peer mentor, attempting to live up to the amazing example Dr. Hess provided me. Congratulations, David. Congratulations to all of our award winners today, and thank you for your outstanding service to Vanderbilt, our students, your faculty, colleagues, and the entire university community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Diermeier, and thank you guys for coming to celebrate our faculty, and thank you for participating in the selection process. At this point, I would ask you guys to join us outside. We lucked out and have a beautiful afternoon to celebrate each other and to have a fellowship together. On your way out, we have a lot of nice lapel pins that are actually magnets. They're quite nice. So feel free to grab one. They're nice to wear, but they're also nice if you're going to present research somewhere. It's also nice just to advertise where we're from. So feel free to pick one up and then join us outside. Thank you again for joining us.